Hey, what's up guys? This is Gary coming back to you here from the Ramsey Custom Shop, and today I thought I'd take a look at some grinder comparisons and just kind of, you see I've got 3 different brands of grinders, 5 different grinders here. One of the questions you might ask is, why do you need so many grinders? And the main reason why is that you want to keep a different kind of grinding wheel on each of your grinders, and that way you're not constantly having to swap your grinder disc out from one to the other. You at least, I would say you at least need to have 2. And these things are so cheap now that it really makes sense to have multiple grinders. The other reason I have multiple grinders is I keep one of them over on my plasma table for cutting off, offcuts and quickly getting rid of, cutting up the rest of the sheet that's left on a table when it's done. And it's really handy not to have the cord draping over the table, dripping in the water, that kind of stuff. And you see the rack that I've got my grinders and drills mounted on. I did a video on this several months back, and I actually sell the plans that you can print out on regular computer paper, lay them out on some sheet metal, and cut out the plan on the lines and fold up and bend your grinder rack, and do that without having to have a CNC plasma table. You could also plasma cut it after you get it laid out. And you notice how I've got things organized here. And I've got it right here beside my 50-foot hose cord reel, and I can just grab one, plug it in, then grab the grinder and take it to wherever, over to the workbench behind me, or wherever I need to go to cut something or grind something. So let's grab a couple of these, and I want to just kind of lay them out and show you some differences. And if you're thinking about buying, a lot of people may be looking at getting the M18 Fuel grinders, and are those worth it? Is it, what's good about them, what's bad about them? So we'll just look at each one and do some little tests so you can kind of get a better feel for the comparison. Okay, so the first thing we will look at is the weight of all these, because weight can be kind of important if you are using it all day long. It can give you, fatigue, and if you do it too much, carpal tunnel syndrome, things like that. So this is going to be the Harbor Freight one. And you can see that one is 3 pounds, 3 pounds and 7.3 ounces, so 3.7 pounds. So that's the Harbor Freight. This is the M18 Fuel, and I can tell it's definitely heavier. Need to try to get this position where we get all the weight on it. So not quite double the weight, 6 pounds 5 ounces. 6.05. And the Dewalt is yeah, so I could tell it was heavier than the Harbor Freight. So surprisingly, the Harbor Freight is the lightest one. Okay, so the next thing you might want to consider about one of these is the easeability of changing the disc, because that's something that you're gonna probably do on a regular basis, and also the guard adjustment itself. So the Milwaukee M18 Fuel, they give you one of these traditional style spanners that fit the 2 holes there that you can take it off with. But if you notice that the retaining nut also has 4 flats on it, so you could use a regular, I don't know what size regular wrench is, but I've got an adjustable crescent wrench here that you could use, because these things are bad to walk away, and sometimes you can get lucky and from one grinder to the other the spacing will fit, but a lot of times you're kind of out of luck on that. So that's one advantage to the Milwaukee grinder, is they give you that extra flat on there, so I do like that. The guard adjustment, so right here at the top, you get this little spring-loaded detent that you open up, and then you can slide your guard around to the different positions. So that makes it really quick and easy to slide things around to get, at the right angle that you're trying to work at. And I do, use that from time to time where you need to get at something. So a couple of good things about the M18 Fuel, just from a usability standpoint there. Now this is not your, for the most part, not your AVE type of video. We're not going to take it apart and dissect the insides of it and, tell you what kind of resistors they used and whatever. This is more from a usability and consumer point of view than that. So here's the Harbor Freight one. I think these are about $14 to $19 depending on if they're on sale or if you have a coupon. And you can see on this one that it takes the regular, it's got its own separate one here that fits in there. And the one thing you notice about it is they don't give you any other option to take that off. I mean, your only way to get this off is this. So you better not lose it, or you'll end up having to make something to get that off of there, or something like that. And all the holes in this are just your standard round holes. And the guard adjustment is a Phillips head screw that you have to unscrew and screw, and it's kind of messy. So even though it's the lightest one, I will give it a low rating for, and it is a 4.5 inch grinder, by the way. Some of these may be 4 inch, but you see we've got a 4.5 inch wheel on there. So that's a little something about that. And the Dewalt, you can see this one's really beat up. I've had these for several years, and I'm going to just say that I really like them. The one thing that I didn't really talk about, and I'll go back through this in a second. Let me just skip that for now. But I've got two of these that are identical, and I really like them a lot. So again, the same kind of thing here on the tool change. You get your standard one, and the Milwaukee happens to actually fit it, which is a good thing. But one of the things that they did, kind of like Milwaukee, is they give you one of these holes has an Allen in it. And this is how I've always changed it. I just keep this handy, and if you ever lose it, at least most shops, guys have multiple sets of Allen keys around. So you can always get it loose. You don't have to go hunting around for it. Just go grab your Allen key and get it out of there. So that's a nice feature. And then also on the guard adjustment, they give you a little spring-loaded button here that you press, and that lets you do a quick change on the fly, which has always worked well for me. So pretty happy with that for sure. And the one thing I was gonna say about these three that a lot of people will talk about is where's the button, where's the action on it. And so since I had the Dewalt, I like where this is. I usually end up doing a lot of I don't do a lot of just hardcore grinding. It's mostly cutting, nipping things off, cutting a bolt or something like that. And I tend to kind of hold it this way, and this makes it really easy right here for me to get at it. And it also locks into place when you push it in by default. You don't have to press another button or whatever. Just it's really good for one-handed operation. So I like the DeWalt for that reason. So if you try to hold this one that same way, the first thing is the casing on this is a little bit bigger. I can just tell the way it's fit in my hand, and so you don't, like the DeWalt where you had the button that you could just flip on, cut, and then flip off. This one's around here on the top, which if you were doing, grinding with it, it's in a better position for that. But for me, I like it on the side. So, kind of a drawback from that point of view. And, again, this button is to lock it so that you can get the, and just to show you that on all three of them, to lock it so you can undo your disc. This one's here, the DeWalt's right there, and the Milwaukee, they're all accessible and all work good. Okay, so let me show you the Milwaukee paddle button. And with this, they give it to you all in one. And I know some guys have always liked the one where the button's on the bottom. And this one's got a little safety flip here that you press back and squeeze the trigger. And so I like to use it like this a lot. It's a little extra work for me to have to come down here with this thumb, press that forward, and then engage the trigger, and then put my hand in position, for it. It's okay, it's I don't like it quite as good as the DeWalt, but it works for me. They do give you a really nice handle that's got a great, rather than just the normal plastic handle, T-handle, they give you this one that's got a nice rubber coated grip on it. It's got a shock absorber here for vibration dampening. I guess the one drawback to this is they don't have a position in the top, you know, like a lot of them do, where you can put the grinder in the top. It's just on both sides, or at least some of them do. So anyway, that's just a quick little look at it. I want to do, I want to try to do 2 tests here that'll give us a look at these, you know, side by side, so that we can, you know, do a comparison of the 3 of them. So let me get switched around and let's walk through a couple of quick tests. All right, so first up, I've got the Harbor Freight grinder, and I'm going to use the same grinder wheel on each one. So I'm going to take it off. So if this thing has any imperfections in it itself, then it's going to transfer from each one, and it'll be a fair comparison. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to zero out this indicator here, and if you'll notice, down on the disc itself, I've got the indicator stuck right in the middle of the little grinder logo that's in the middle of the disc. So let's you can see we got it on 0 there, so let's just kind of spin it around all the way around back, you know, 1 full revolution, and see what we get. So and see if it comes back to 0. Okay, so that's good. It repeated back to 0. And so let's do that one more time, and let me turn it where I can see it a little bit better. All right, so we started on 0 basically. So this thing is swinging out in the upward direction, and that's about 7 thousandths that way. Seven or 8 thousandths that way, and then it goes back in the negative direction, and I'm not counting all those little flickers because it's probably hitting little imperfections and indentions in the, so I'm just trying to look at the overall, and it looked like it went about 6 or 7 in that way. So about 13 or 14 thousandths swing from one way or the other, and that's the Harbor Freight. So let me switch it around and show you the Dewalt now. All right, so we have the Dewalt in there now, and let me see if I can get this adjusted to where that plunger is a little more straight up and down. Let's see. So we'll just have to zero it over here. Okay. All right, so, and you can see we're right on the center of that grinder as well. So we're zeroed out. Let's just go around 1 full rotation. Keep in mind that this grinder is about 7 years old, and it gets used a lot. It's been dropped. I mean, any number of things could happen to it. So see, it's blipping here and there. Right there, it's, you know, it's about, see if it repeats. Yeah, it's kind of coming back to 0 there now. Okay, so let's go around it again real quick. It looked like about 5 thousandths to me was the peak that it saw right in there. Four or 5 thousandths. So compare that to the 13 or 14 thousandths in the Harbor Freight. Okay, we got the Milwaukee up here now. We got the indicator zeroed out. We got it in the center of the grinder. You're going to notice that this, I think it's because it's a brushless motor. I don't know that for sure. Again, this is not AVE. I'm not an expert on motors and all, but it's got a clickiness to it, like a, you know, like you would feel in a stepper motor. So you're going to see it, you know, jumping, but we're just looking overall at where does it stay. So let's go all the way around. Let's do that again. So we're going to look for, looks like about 8 thousandths positive in that direction, and we're swinging about 3 thousandths in that direction, and it's pretty well repeating, pretty close back there. I gotta say that's a pretty big surprise, that there's that much slop or run out in that. So let's move on to another test. All right, for this test, we're just gonna, it's more of a visual thing. It's gonna be hard to get an exact comparison, but maybe we'll notice some differences. So I've just got the grinder sitting down on the table. The guard is down on the table, and I'm just gonna get it, switch it on here, and we're gonna look at the movement or vibration through the water to see if we can see what's, any indication at all here. So let's take a look at it. All right, I'm just gonna set it and kind of hold it here, right here on top of it, and turn it on. We'll look at it this way. I don't know if you can see it, but it actually runs really smooth, all things considered. So even though it's got runout in it, maybe they've got some dampening here going on with the way they've got the case made, or the way they've got the motor suspended in there, or something. So the water test there did not seem to be moving much at all. So I'm going to use the same disc on all of these so we get a fair comparison. So let me swap that out, and we'll take a look at the Harbor Freight one. Okay, so let's check out the Harbor Freight one now. Yeah, same kind of thing there. It really wasn't indicating anything, but I could definitely feel it in the handle. This thing transfers a lot of vibrations. It just feels like it's not solid, or it's not stable. So I'm just going to abandon this test to save you guys time, because the Dewalt's probably going to look fairly close to the same. It's not really showing us any difference. And if you've got any thoughts on how you would get a better test of vibration transferred through to your hand, some kind of measurement on that, I'd be interested in knowing that. So lastly, let's just get them set up and make a couple of cuts and show you these things in action. Somebody may be watching this video that's thinking about buying one of these, and you want to see it actually cutting. So we're just going to make some simple cuts with it. All right, I've just got a piece of 1/8" flat stock, just some kind of an off cut, and we're just going to cut off the end of it here just to show you these in action. I could tell that was running a little weak there, so I just swapped the battery out, and it's a lot stronger with a fresh battery. Okay, well, let's wrap this video up. Hope you guys got something out of this. Just in summary, I would say that thing, if you're just looking for like an extra grinder or two to have around, and you want to, put a rarely used disc on it, like maybe a cut brush or something that you wouldn't use very much. I don't know. You may want to do that, but these are the kind of tools that you buy once and you have them for 20, 30 years, maybe even longer. And you might as well get a good one, you know, and $15 versus $60 in the end, it's really not going to make that much difference. Overall, I think, you know, just from the feel and everything involved with the trigger position, this is really kind of still my favorite. And I would say this is my go-to when you're in a tight spot, or, you know, like working on the plasma table to do offcuts, or you want to run outside and cut something real quick that you don't want to drag a cord out there for. This one comes into play. But overall, general purpose use, I like the Dewalt. And again, it's a personal preference thing. So let me know what you think. If you watch this video, leave a comment and tell me which one you like best, or if you've got one that I didn't show in the video that you would say are better than all these. Let me know. See you guys.